If the man was black, he wouldn't be nowhere. You know it, I know it, everybody know it. I have to convince you day in and day out, there's no one in the world today could beat me.
Holmes has refused to fight Cooney in spite of what he said to the media, where he verbalizes one thing, but in fact, to the truth, when it came time to sign a contract, never got back to us after a meeting where we were supposed to sign a contract.
The year is 1982. Larry Holmes is in the prime of his career. After spending his teenage years surrounded by the greatest fighters of the 70s, including Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and George Foreman.
If you could survive 1 or 2 rounds with me, I could really do damage to your body physically and your brain.
The Eastern Assassin has blossomed into a god of boxing of his own, becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world and making some of the most memorable title defenses possible in the 80s thus far.
Poor man is still smiling, and look how battered and beaten he is.
But up next is a feared beast with fresh blood on his fangs and a newfound lust for a world title. Gerry Cooney, a lovely man deep down inside, yet ironically a danger on the inside of the ring.
He's amazing. The height, reach, weight, as big as that guy is, his agility, it's amazing. He's really a top prospect.
Can Holmes' savviness between the 4 ropes help him overcome the titan ahead? Or will this colossus loom a large shadow that Larry can't escape and split his undefeated record of 39-0 into 2? Welcome back to Boxing After Dark. In tonight's episode, we're looking at breaking down one of the most commercially successful fights in boxing history, hiding a story that showcases one of the ugliest leeches on the belly of modern boxing that, for the better part of 50 years, has slyly been swept under the rug. Let's get into it. Larry Holmes was far from a popular man in 1982. He was not even a loved man, especially among his peers.
Nobody can beat me in this world, if I can say that to you. And I feel that way.
You look like Ali when you did that.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm Larry. I get called more Joe Frazier than I did George Foreman.
He was the forgotten heavyweight. Nobody knew who he was.
Holmes had fought tooth and nail to garner a respectable fan base in size. However, while his charisma failed to match up to even half of Ali's or his mentor Joe Frazier, Holmes was a talent who earned his keep as the greatest heavyweight in the world throughout the first half of the 80s.
And I don't have to run from nobody anymore. And I got the power, I got the jab, so why should I have to worry about anybody?
And after some iconic victories over the great Ken Norton, heavy hitter Ernie Shavers, ancient Muhammad Ali, and former world champions Trevor Berbick and Leon Spinks, Larry is set to fight his most formidable contender yet, the gentleman Gerry Cooney.
And come June 11th, I promise you, Gerry Cooney will be knocked out.
Let's awaken this guy. Let's break this guy's neck.
Gerry Cooney lived up to his title as a gentleman from day one of his pro career.
I want to keep training in the gym and keep learning. I have so much to learn, and I just like to keep training, keep learning, and just keep winning, and hopefully win the title, my goal.
At first, Gerry seemed to be little more than an interesting character with a good amount of power under his left hand. Still, after back-to-back victories over the former world champion Ken Norton and prior top contender Ron Lyle, 2 men with heavy hands themselves who had given Muhammad Ali some of his most brutal nights, people began to reevaluate Gerry and champion him.
You get nailed with a real good shot. Larry will get up, but he's never been hit like this kid Cooney's going to hit him.
This fight was already going to be a stylistically compelling one, with Larry's great boxer technique with his beautiful left jab, and Gerry Cooney's manic hooks from both hands that could bludgeon a bulldozer when at his own pace. But unfortunately, the greatness of this fight technically and visually soon became overshadowed when outside forces found a new cash cow to milk.
Do you resent the fact that people make a special deal out of you perhaps becoming a white champion in a black-dominated sport?
It's a white and black fight. Any way you look at it, you cannot change that. Gerry Cooney, Irish, white, Catholic.
I felt discriminated against. I felt discriminated against everywhere I went.
It was tense all across the country.
While Cooney and Holmes individually recognized the marketing tactics were foul and had no dignity whatsoever, it seems no one else did, including their teams and promoters. with Dennis Rappaport, Cooney's co-manager at the time, being one of the most disrespectful men throughout the build-up towards Holmes and his team.
I do not respect Larry Holmes as a human being. I don't think he's carried the championship with dignity.
At the end of Jerry's career, he never goes more than 2 rounds. Thank the Lord, and we'll be very happy. It'll prove that he's the greatest fighter of all time. Let the cynics ask the same questions when he's heavyweight champion of the world.
Despite both fighters disagreeing with the horrible prejudice thrown each other's way through the grueling months leading up to the bout, the two men needed time before they came to like each other.
Larry didn't like Jerry, Jerry didn't like Larry, but it really wasn't Larry and Jerry. It was everybody else around them.
Unfortunately, by the time the two men recognized each other's quality, the fight had arrived, and the marketing teams had already won bigger than either fighter could hope for between the ropes. The ring announcements have gone down in history as one of the most disrespectful slights in boxing history, as the champion was announced before the contender and challenger, a tradition never broken in all of heavyweight boxing.
I was quite surprised, Barry, because normally champion gets the respect of being announced last.
And then the bell finally rings.
Both men wearing white trunks. Cooney with a clover leaf. Red trim on Larry Holmes. Holmes comes quickly out, takes a jab from Cooney. Holmes being very effective early on with that jab. Oh, rather, Cooney tries an uppercut. Cooney trying to jab. Took a good right hand that time from Holmes. This is just the second round. It is a hot night. You saw Holmes bounce off the ropes right away that time. And Cooney took a good right hand from Holmes. He staggers in his back. Cooney is down from a right hand by Larry Holmes.
This will be the round. I see that Cooney legs are still rubbery.
Cooney has 30 seconds to survive. Remember Larry Holmes?
He recovers well from Holmes' electrifying jab and regains his footing, but it's an uphill battle from here, and Larry's conditioning until this point has been infamously pristine.
And another good left hand by the challenger. Good right hand that time by Cooney. Backs Holmes up.
He steps in with it.
That was a right hand by Holmes that time. Holmes up off his stool early. Cooney remains seated. Now he comes up. This is the 4th round. The fight should belong to Larry Holmes. If Cooney couldn't get to him early, the left hand to the head.
And he saw an opening and he wants to get to it.
That was a right hand to the ribs that time.
Those shots to the body.
There was 2 right hands.
I'll be curious to see, Barry, what would happen if Holmes started going to Cooney's bodies. Well, again, Larry's flat-footed. I think
Round 4 is Cooney's best work yet. He targets Holmes' body, building up some early damage in hopes of it paying dividends in the later rounds, as Holmes will tire.
Cooney at the bell. Cooney at 6'6". Another good left hand, and Holmes spins out of there. Still flat-footed. Now he gets up on his toes. And a right hand, and that backs up Cooney. Cooney goes downstairs, caught that one on gloves, did Holmes. Holmes with another right hand. It's a right hand, big, widespread right hand. Holmes with a combination, gets out of there.
Those shots to the body.
And a left hand into the body of Larry Holmes, thrown by Gerry Cooney. Holmes jab, there's a right hand on the top of the head, but Holmes did not step backwards. Sharp left jab. Remember, the only knockout of the fight coming in the 2nd round. Cooney with a left hand, another left to the body. There was a left hand by Cooney. Holmes comes back with a right hand, and the legs wobble once more. Cooney is in trouble against the rope. A right hand misses, but another one scores, and another right hand. Now a left and an uppercut. Cooney goes through the rope, but is still on his feet. Holmes scoring almost at will, but Cooney will not go down. End of the round, a big round for Holmes.
And here we see Larry Holmes just completely dominating Gerry Cooney. Has Cooney in big trouble, and here, he just can't get any more clean punches in, Barry.
Now is a real test for the challenger, Gerry Cooney. Holmes very patient. And now you can just see the confidence surge in Holmes. He missed a wild right hand, but that left jab, the cut on the nose, I don't think really bothers Cooney, who tries to bomb Holmes with the right hand, but Holmes doesn't back up. And Cooney with no reason to back off. Got a right uppercut in on the chin that time of Holmes. And now the blood starts from the nose of Gerry Cooney, who does get Holmes momentarily on the ropes. Cooney has not gone away. And Holmes comes up with a left, and a right hand is short. He is flat-footed, takes a right hand, and actually might have been hurt a little bit by that right hand. Holmes keeps him off him. And a right hand by Holmes that time. Right hand by Cooney again, gets in but doesn't do any damage. There's a right hand by the champion and another right hand. A left hand that time, a little bit short.
After much better work from Holmes for the last 2 rounds, The Easton assassin goes into the ninth with solid determination and willpower. Cooney lands some nice headshots in the opening half, but before long, Holmes starts using his fists instead of his defense.
So let's see if Larry Holmes, there was a good right hand, exactly what we were just talking about.
With just 30 seconds on the clock, the gentleman becomes less gentlemanly as he clocks Holmes with a vicious low blow, leading to a point deduction and time for Larry to recover.
And there was a low blow thrown by Cooney.
Well, we have a look, and that was a very low blow by Gerry Cooney.
And the fight continues. Again, a punch that was a little bit low, thrown by Cooney. A right hand missed, and Holmes backs out of there. Holmes again, flat-footed. Combination is a good left hand. And now Cooney dances in front of him and mocks Larry Holmes. Cooney really the aggressor. A right hand to the head that time by Cooney, and a left to the head of Larry Holmes as Cooney comes alive here. There's a right to the body, and a left hand was low, and Holmes comes back with an uppercut that goes right on the chin.
Cooney didn't have that much sting on his punches, but now he seems to be refreshed, a new fighter. Trick on Cooney.
And a left hand scores by Holmes, and a right. Cooney forcing the action, and Holmes is providing a stationary target. There's a right hand by Holmes. That right hand becoming very effective. It has been his best punch. There's another, and a left hand and a right behind it. There's another right hand by Holmes. It keeps Cooney off of him, and yet another as we come to the end of the 10th round. Combination by Holmes, and a left hand by Cooney at the bell. Cooney stalking Holmes in a corner now. That's where Cooney wants him. Another warning for a low blow, and Mills Lane takes another point away from Gerry Cooney, and that could become significant. Right now, I would have to say that Cooney is less tired than Larry Holmes. Left hand did get in, and there's that right hand, just as you said. Holmes goes back to his toes now, and there's a right hand once more. And that was 3 pretty good punches that time by Gerry Cooney.
Good, solid punch. Larry's been working on the eye ever since it happened.
Holmes goes back up on his toes and scores, but takes a shot from Cooney in return.
Larry Holmes has proven he is a true champion, and Cooney...
There was a right hand and another right. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ray. I'm sorry, but 2 good right hands by the champion. All those punches at this point have got to hurt. A left hand. There's not a lot of snap in the punch by Gerry Cooney, at least that one. There's a right hand again.
Round 13 has Holmes putting in some of his best work of the fight, along with the prior 2. And while Cooney hasn't lost the threat of his power, his large mass is taking its toll as he is tired exponentially.
And there's a right hand, but again, Cooney does not back up at all.
Cooney's just
there's a right hand.
He's just walking towards Larry now. Cooney's really gone now. He's really gone.
Cooney very wobbly in the center of the ring, takes another right hand. And that eye is really opened up. Combinations of punches thrown by the champion against Gerry Cooney. This one is all but over. Cooney against the ropes. Mills Lane steps in. He did not really go down. And Victor Valley is saying no more.
Larry Holmes successfully defended his title as a heavyweight champion and beat an incredible fighter.
He punched a little better than I anticipated. He's got a very good jab, and he used it. And he's a good puncher. He's an all-around boxer.
Gerry Cooney, as always, was humble, taking the first loss of his career gracefully.
Have you got renewed respect for Larry Holmes as a fighter?
He's a champion of the world, and I'd like to fight with him again.
Thank you very much.
The 2 men have since remained good friends and sing each other's praises whenever asked about the other. Larry would dominate for 8 more fights following this great occasion. While he never matched the pay-per-view numbers he generated this year, he achieved many of his most significant wins. But while Holmes made successful title defenses, his once immaculate conditioning and morale slowly slipped away. On his 49th professional fight, for the victory that would have him tied with Rocky Marciano as the longest reigning undefeated heavyweight champion, the legendary light heavyweight Michael Spinks put on a masterclass of performance and supposedly ended the career of Mr. Holmes after nearly a decade of dominance.
Styles make fight. Michael Spinks got a very unique style, and he took a good punch, and the punches that I thought I had, I couldn't land them.
After 2 years out of the ring, Holmes returned for another title shot against the undefeated heavyweight champion Mike Tyson, who knocked out Holmes for the first and only time in his career.
It's great to have the name on my record, but everyone knows Larry Holmes was a legendary fighter, and if he was at his best, I couldn't stand a chance. He's a great fighter. I admire him very much.
Larry retired with a flashy record of 69-6. And while his career post-Spinks wasn't as striking as his title reign, it's undeniable that Holmes had proven himself a worthy successor of Muhammad Ali and other great champions of the 70s before him. Gerry Cooney, after this incredible night, attempted 2 more comebacks. First against the man who dethroned Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, but Cooney was out of shape, addicted to alcohol and in a brutal depression. He got knocked out in the 5th round with his worst performance yet, and returned to the ring only once more 3 years later, where Gerry unfortunately met the mortar strike of George Foreman's uppercut that had him knocked out and out of the ring for good.
What's your attitude on your future?
I'm going to come back a couple more times. No, that's it. That's it for me. I just got caught out there. I got caught with a good shot, and that's it.